into
So
that.
starting in Tadasana.
Bring your attention to the breath.
Always a good place to start.
Breathe in and out through the belly.
Working with the breath, breathing in and out through the tummy. Let the tummy come up, diaphragm pushing down.
And then holding the belly.
And maybe holding the tummy and then breathing into the upper lungs, into the thoracic area. Separating the two, and then full yogi breath, tummy and then thoracic area.
And then bringing the knees up.
Okay, bringing the knees into the chest to really squeeze the low discs in the lumbar area. Pulling them as tight as you can and release.
Take the legs out nice and long.
Start moving, warming
So
up the
you're working with
spine.
breath.
And then we start stretching the legs, hamstrings. Don't worry if you can't get your legs up too high so you can reach them. It's really just movement in the hips. Keeping the legs extended, nice and straight, stretch the hamstrings.
And reach
rounds
up.
Of those.
And bring the head
then
up.
start to lift the shoulders up. Bring the head towards the knee.
Reach up, head up, and release.
Again, nothing too intense at this stage. It's really just gliding tissue on tissue, freeing up some of the sticky, fuzzy stuff within the muscles and the fascia.
And then bring the knees up to the chest once more.
And again, bring the knees in.
Squeeze and release. Take the hands out nice and long.
Knees up now, with some rotation.
Rotate hips.
Arms out wide,
in.
palms facing up.
On an
Using
exhale,
the
let
hips
the knees come
rotate.
down with gravity.
To the right with gravity all the way down.
Inhale back
core
up
to
to centre.
maintain, then come
And
back to
inside with
centre.
gravity.
Exhaling down. Inhale back to centre. Going to the left, going to the right. A few of these, as many as you like, working with the breath. Breath to movement. Keeping both shoulders in touch with the mat.
Squeeze the knees and take the hands behind. Lengthen the legs.
Now we're going to increase
real good movement
coming
through the
all
back
the way
up
up
the spine.
So using the lower legs as
come
momentum.
up to a seated position.
Seated posture.
And then just laying back down. Laying back down to bridge. Come to bridge.
And now we're
So
going to
bring
try
the
some
knees
bridges.
up to here.
So feet come up below the glutes.
Pelvic rotation.
There's some pelvic rotations going on here, using your core to
Pelvis
rotate
is
the pelvis.
rotating.
So in a breath in, flattening the lumbar, arching the lumbar spine.
Hold it.
With a
Hold
breath
it there.
out, flattening
Hands
the lumbar
down the
spine.
side and lift up.
Rotate the pelvis.
Keep the pelvis
Just hold to
rotated.
bridge. Keep that pelvis
And then bring
rotated.
all the way down.
So we're tightening the
Keeping
core
the tuck
muscles,
under.
tucking the tailbone
And
under,
then
and lift up
release.
into bridge.
Pelvis comes forward.
And
Arch under
down
the back.
again.
Under the back. Flatten the back.
As you hit the mat, breathe in, arch the lower back. Breathe out, flatten the lower back. Keep that tuck under and lift it all the way up into the bridge. And then slowly lower down. Vertebra to vertebra.
Feel the gap. And then come back. Again.
Knees in,
Coming all
massage
the way
them,
up
come up
to
right.
a tabletop position.
Now coming onto all fours, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Do some cat cows again, working with movement with the breath. Breath in, dip the tummy down to the mat, breath out, pull the navel into the spine. A few rounds here, close your eyes, follow the range of the movement with your breath.
And then take the hands out.
And then we'll go some tigers. So extending the left leg out, right leg forward. Exhale, knee to elbow. And then hold. About 3 of those or 4 of those, your choice. But hold and then swap. So straighten out right leg, left hand. Knee to elbow on the exhale. Inhale, reach. Knee to elbow on the exhale. Inhale, reach. Knee to elbow on the exhale. Inhale, reach and hold.
Hold the 2, the 3, the 4.
Hold here for about 5 breaths if you like. We're going to come down to the mat now. Subtle back bend here. Hands are either side of the rib cage. Pull the chest forwards by pulling back on the palms of the hands. Peel the chest off the mat. Bring the shoulder blades back down the back. Look straight ahead into cobra. Feel those shoulder blades coming back down your back.
Sit back on the heels. Take the hands down the side.
Come into child pose. So allowing the forehead to come down to the mat. Breathe into the tummy, pushes the ribs up into the back.
Slowly making your way up now.
Come back into tabletop, tucking the toes on the mat, knees are hip width apart. Lift the knees just gently, about 2 or 3 inches off the mat, pushing into the toe joints. Then take the hips and the sit bones backwards, which will create length in the back. This is important. Get the length in the back, let the head drop down between the shoulders naturally, and then straighten your legs out as much as you can. Cycle each leg by bending each knee, sending the opposite heel down to the mat. Come up on high heels. A little bit of movement in your downward dogs here.
Feeling into the stretch.
Just moving tissue on tissue, freeing up all the stickiness. And hold here for a few breaths. Bringing the hips forward now. Come down, knees are mat width apart, sit back into extended child. Take the hands out to the top corners of the mat, drop the forehead down to the mat. Inch the fingers up as far as you can, creating length across the back and into the arms. Breathe into the tummy, let the tummy come down towards the mat. Coming up now into tabletop and into puppy again. Hold here and then straighten out again. Sit bones going backwards. Find a really good inverted V downward dog.
Lift the legs up.
Lift one leg up. Three-legged dog. Gauging your core. Keep the leg nice and straight. And then make a windscreen wipe the heels. Make some rotations in the hips. And bend one leg in three-legged dog. Take the knee out to the side. Rotate the ankle. A bit of external rotation in the hip. Go the other side. Bend the knee. Take it out to the side. Then rotate the foot to the ankle.
Bring it back down. Turn and look at the hands.
And now walking forwards into a Bentley forward bend.
Into a Bentley forward bend.
Adjusting clothing accordingly.
So engaging.
Allowing the back muscles to open up here. Gently, slowly coming into a forward bend. So straightening the legs, rotating the pelvis forwards, which allows the spine to go deeper down towards the mat. Head and chest coming down, downwards, not coming into the thigh. Try and get some length. Straighten the legs, straighten the back, come forwards into a half forward bend. Bend the knees and roll up into standing. And now we're going to some sun salutations, working with the breath. Breathe in, lift the arms up, come into a back bend. On the exhale, swan dive the hands out to the side and down. Bentley forward bend. Breathe in, half forward bend. Breathe out, forward bend. Hands come down, engage the core. Step the right foot back into lunge. Lift the chest, head slightly, engage the core, step back into plank. On the same exhale, coming all the way down to the mat. Tops the feet on the mat, pull the hands, peel the chest, cobra, push into the mat, tuck the toes in, lift up into plank and take the hips backwards into downward dog. Cycle the legs here, a few breaths. Walking forwards towards the hands, bend the forward bend. And then rolling up into mountain, lift the hands up, introduce a small back bend, swan dive hands out to the side, bend the knees all the way down to the mat on the exhale. Inhale, half forward bend, exhale, forward bend. Hands come down to the mat, engage the core, step the left leg back. Lift the chest forward, inhale. On the exhale, come into plank, all the way down to the mat. On the inhale, lift up into cobra. Release, tuck the toes in, lift up into plank and then back into downward dog. Cycle the legs, or hold the downward dog. Breathe in to the position, three-legged dog, and then step forward the right foot between the hands, and the left foot joins. Bend the forward bend, roll up into standing lift up, and then drop the hands down. We're going to step to the side here into a warrior position. So, finding position, right leg nice and straight, rooting down through the outer arch of the right foot, left leg is flexed, and then we come into a triangle. So I'll put more details on the website about these particular postures and the alignment. We're just simply going through the practice here. Come out of triangle, come into a warrior one. Okay. Looking at your foundation, feeling where you are, your shoulder girdle, core, pelvis, ankles, fold forwards. And kick back into a downward dog. Plank down to the mat and come up into upward dog, back into downward dog, step forward the left foot, and come back up to warrior 2. Come across the other side now, warrior 2. Feel your form here, ankles, knees, hips. Straighten the legs, lean forward into triangle and up. Look up. Focal point, thumb on the raised left arm. Your alignment as if you're standing next to a wall, nice and straight. Coming up into a warrior 1. So holding warrior 1. Again, finding your form. Check elsewhere on the website for alignment and tips on forming some of these postures. Coming down. Just pausing for a moment until I get up to speed with where we are. We're going to come up to standing. So make your way up to a standing pose and we'll do some balancing. So first we're going to start with tree pose. An important thing about balance is working from the ankles all the way up, pushing into the mat with the grounding foot, make it as wide and as big as possible, find your balance, engage your core, and then when you're comfortable, keep your focus on something and start to test your centre of gravity. Now you can have your raised leg onto your calf, your foot onto your calf, or you can have it into the thigh, it's your choice, or you can have a side stand. This time we're going into the calf, pushing into the mat with a grounded leg, finding your balance, engaging your core, keeping your focus and come into a standing. Take about 5 breaths here in standing postures. If you're weak on one side, do that side twice. Come into a wide leg position now. 5 point, come into a squat, wide leg squat. And engaging the core, keeping your foundation, using your core to rotate out of the hips, keeping the back nice and long. Call it my 007 movement. Come into goddess, bring the shoulder blades back down the back. Pushing the hips forward, bringing the knees backwards, really opening up the groin, stretching the adductors. Come back into 5 point. Movement with the breath, come back down into squat. And work your way around to the front of the mat. We're going to come down into seated, a little bit of core here, usual postures in core, Navasana. Engaging the core, just sitting just back of the sit bones, keeping the pelvis and the hips nice and stable, straightening out the legs into a high boat. The key here is to go nice and slowly, engaging your core throughout. Slow movement, give your brain a chance to manage the balance. Maybe some reps here, if that's your thing. All the work coming in the hip flexors, transverse ab. Engaging the internal and external obliques now, core muscles, you could do some rotations. Nice and slow, your choice. Take some time here, different variations in Navasana. Stimulating different muscles within your 3 core muscle group. We're coming to Sukhasana, easy posture. Onto some rotations here, ground the sit bones. Okay, so left hand on right knee, take the right hand behind, create a lift in the spine, engage the core, use the core muscles to take you around. And then work all the way through thoracic spine into cervical spine. But the key here is to create a lift in the spine before you rotate. Change the legs in the other way. Might be slightly unnatural to you, but we try and put people on the edge. And go around to the left. Again, only using the bind when you've used your core muscles to take the torso around as far as you can. And then the bind on that right hand to take the thoracic spine into a little bit more of a deeper rotation and then cervical spine. Giving the internal organs a really good squeeze. And continuing with hip rotations and core, we're going to come down on our backs. Arms out wide. Show the soles of the feet to the ceiling. Engage your core, keeping both shoulders on the mat. You can use your core muscles to take the legs down to the side. Toes coming towards fingers if you can. As far as down as you can with your strength. Lifting back up to centre, using the breath here, exhaling down, inhaling back to centre. 4 or 5 each side. Then when we finished, bring the knees up into the chest, release the back. Continue with hip rotations, supine twist, hands out to the side, left ankle on right knee, rotate down to the right, and then encourage that left knee to come down a little bit further, but keeping that left shoulder in touch with the mat at all times. Turn and look away or look to your left. It's a really nice stretch here. Hold here for 5 or 6 breaths, feeling the tension in your glutes and releasing with the breath, and then change sides. Again, allowing gravity to bring that leg down, and then encourage a little bit more with the bind. Turn and look to your right. Really feel the tension. Breathe into it on the exhale. A little bit of a back massage again. You can come back down to the mat. Join the soles of the feet together, take the arms up, arms in touch with the mat at all times. Join the palms together into a reclined cobbler, allowing the adductors to stretch out here, the groin to release. Just reaching up as far as you can out of the shoulders with the hands. Great stretch here. You can use this for relaxation if you like, but a fantastic stretch anyway. Come to happy baby, shoulder soles of the feet to the mat. Reach up, grab your ankles, backs of your calves, or if you can, your feet, and then have a bit of fun with this. We're pulling the knees down to the mat, so really compressing in the hip joint and moving the hip joints, rotate into the sides if we like. A little bit of a back massage. Always good to get the discs moving, compressing in the back. And then finishing off with a seated forward bend here. So the foot comes into the thigh, rotating the pelvis forwards and then coming forwards with the hands onto the shin. Not really going for distance here, okay? Go with your range of movement. Engage your tummy muscles, pulling your navel into your spine, create a bit more space, and then come deeper into the posture. And then coming back out, change legs, go the other side. Sit bones engaged. Rotate the pelvis forward and then allow deeper reach forwards using your core to bring your chest down towards your shin, your chin to your shin. Use a bind if that's okay for you. What we would do normally is a counter of that malasana. So elbows, forearms on the mat, lift the chest up, length across the front of the chest, drop the head back down between the shoulder blades. Counter pose for any forward bend. Or if you want an alternative, is come up into seated. Hands come down just behind the hips and lift up into reverse plank. Engage the hamstrings after that stretch in the forward bend. And when we're finished, then we come down into a comfortable shavasana for some relaxation.